One, two, one.
Kakegurui, compulsive gambler, is an anime I've kind of overlooked. It seemed like it had an interesting premise and some good-looking goals, but I wasn't immediately convinced with the premise. This is more of a psychological show, relying on mind games and intimidation to increase your chances of winning. Well, now that I've finally watched the first season, I gotta say that I'm sort of impressed with how good the anime actually is. Not gonna lie, this is a far cry compared with other masterfully created properties, like One Out, but it is an equally competent and enjoyable show when compared with the likes of No Game No Life. Therefore I ended up really liking Kakegurui. What really got me hooked on the anime wasn't the story or its psychological games, but the amazing art style and the numerous exaggerated but marvelous expressions of its many attractive female characters. This show has masterfully animated the terror and despair of the losing party, but it also brilliantly displays the enjoyment and arrogance of the ones who have triumphed over their opponents.
Chip by chip, we pile on the money until we drown in it!
It's all about outsmarting or intimidating your adversary while putting your life on the line. A pretty intense way of living, something I certainly don't envy. I have a pretty bad poker face, and I'm a novice at best when it comes to gambling. Therefore, this weird and unforgiving school is really terrifying. Haikao Private Academy is a high-class elite school housing the children of Japan's most wealthy and influential people, which would explain how these teenagers have so much cash to gamble away for prestige and status. You see, the student hierarchy in this school is not determined by academic performance or athletic abilities, but rather by gambling. The academy has a strict society. It's a constant fight for survival between the students. The ones who lose and fall into debt become house pets. They are basically slaves for the others to abuse and manipulate. These are some harsh rules, even for a society ruled by chance and anarchy. It turns out this particular school wasn't always this brutal, but once the student council president was defeated and replaced by this evil white-haired hottie, Haiko Academy became her personal playground.
Everything changed 2 years ago, right after the current student council president took office.
Kirari Omobame is a major antagonist of the series, and I do like the analogy she makes between her domain and an aquarium. How ruthless hierarchy forms while everyone lives in terror from other predators looking to take their place. Kirari is also very prominent in the opening song, as she's shown as a rival to Yumeko, getting rather friendly in some instances. While the opening song has some amazing artwork, it means the show looks like it is full with ecchi and fanservice. Kakegurui does have a few suggestive themes, a lot of tension between the ladies, but it isn't exactly my level of preferred female skin exposure. I'm a DXD kind of guy, but I can as well very much appreciate all this girl-on-girl action, even though they sadly keep their clothes on most of the time. It is a constant theme of the show to have either Kirari or Yumeko inappropriately touch their female partners, and I simply love it. All this lesbo tension is great, even amazing, now that I keep on replaying certain scenes.
I know you're a good girl and you normally play by all the school's rules. But now, you've got a rare chance to get even.
Here's where the show gets its distinct look and becomes iconic. The exaggerated expressions and movements of the one who gambles, combined with closed-on tension between the ladies, makes this title one of a kind and solidifies its presence in the community. I like how the show looks and how it portrays human emotion, as well as how it handles its psychological angle. The only part where the show slightly underperforms is with the story. It's all strongly connected to gambling, and it works pretty well at the beginning, but as we're approaching the final episodes, it starts to get a bit crowded, and the anime switches from elaborated mind games to pure chance of luck and convenient circumstances. I admit, it is a lot of fun to see every single member of the student council body be challenged to a game and have an opportunity to show their abilities against Yumeko. This kind of reminds me of Kill la Kill, well, at least in regard with its structure. We have a weird academy ruled ruthlessly by a strong and determined female student council president, while a newcomer brunette girl has come to challenge the rules and hierarchy imposed on the others. The way Ryuko fought every single member of the student council body strikes me similar to how Yumeko challenged all the prominent figures of the academy. But introductions are in order, and the most prominent figure of the show is Yumeko Jabami. She is presented at the beginning as a second-year transfer student who is cheerful and at first glance feral and innocent. However, deep inside, she is a compulsive gambler who gambles for the thrill of it. Unlike students that do it for financial and social gain, Yumeko is a beautiful brunette with straight long hair and a tight slim body.
Now I just have to gamble with the student council president!
Man, I like this type of girls. Slender brunettes with a hime cut and some big titties. She has the unfortunate tendency of keeping her clothes on, but I can see right through her modest attire and marvel at how thick her feminine features are. Can fool an experienced ecchi anime fan like me?
I'm not keen on people I don't know seeing me naked.
She turns out to be a total psycho when it comes to gambling, as her eyes turn red whenever excited by the outcome of a game.
So much on the line. It's just, even thinking about it, makes me burn.
You know, the anime does have some insecure, average-looking guy follow her around everywhere. It seems like Yumeko is the protagonist of the series. Most events are seen from her perspective, and she does take center stage within the story. There's not much we know about her personal life, besides the fact that she's rich and has an older sister, but we do get some input in regard to her personality. Yumeko enjoys manipulating her opponent and is very good at deceiving others into overlooking her capabilities. At the very beginning of the show, we're getting introduced Ryota Suzui, who is the average teenage boy I've mentioned before. He's gambling against Mary Saotome and loses spectacularly against her. As of now, Ryota has become a house pet. It's up to Yumeko to save him from this predicament. At first, Yumeko seems like a normal student. She behaves, acts with respect towards the others, but once Mary sets her eyes on her, Yumeko is about to reveal her real self in front of the whole school.
Maybe you'd like to do a little gambling with me?
This was the first Kakegurui match we get to witness, and will survive as an example for the numerous other events that are yet to come. The game in itself is rather simple and easy to follow. The show tries to overcomplicate things by adding new rules or variables, but at its core, the main obstacle Yumeko has to overcome is realizing how her opponent is going to cheat and counter that strategy with psychological and emotional warfare. Even though Mary Saotome is in the end defeated and has to accept her loss as a house pet.
I'm only like this because I lost to you! Come on, Mittens, why don't you put your name tag on?
She still remains a prominent figure in the story, and eventually becomes partners with Yumeko, as they both try to pay their debts.
So that's why. I thought it was only fair to have Yumeko on my side.
Unlike Yumeko, Mary cares about her social status and puts great value on her finances. Mary is unhappy with how things work in the academy and wants to become student council president to gain the recognition and influence she so often desires. Mary even gets an invitation from Kirari to join the student council body in a rather forward and inappropriate way.
You know, I find you extremely enigmatic, and I love that.
I like how dominant Kirari is with her subordinate, and how she closes her face to other girls, almost like trying to kiss them. After learning how the student council president perceives the enslaved students, Mary forms a grudge against her and aims to overturn her domain.
She thinks I am less than her! And that's a bad idea. One I swear she'll regret!
On a lighter note, Yumeko seems not to mind the harsh society she lives in, and even finds comfort in being one of the pets who gets to be abused by the other students.
Meow, meow. I'm a loser cat with a gambling addiction. I lost to the student council.
I really enjoyed her playing as a cat. It boosted her appeal as a woman even more, by being a cute, obedient little feline.
Huh? I think I should gamble more, and I want to.
On her gambling journey, Yumeko faces many opponents and some of them even end up admiring her resolve. Midari Ikishima is a crazy fellow student with an eye patch. She's obsessed with high-stake game balls, and often endangers her life in the process. Don't want to linger too much on this crazy, but she deserves a little mention for her eccentric and baffling personality.
Maybe you should try your luck against Yumeko. She's got guts.
I really like Yumemite. She's a school idol and seems to be a lovely little angel who respects and cherishes her devoted fanbase.
Oh, really? I didn't know we had a celebrity here.
But that is all just a facade to maintain her popularity, and she secretly hates her fans with a passion.
Exactly. They're pathetic. They're simply disgusting.
Tsuki Sumeragi is another interesting opponent Yumeko has to face. She's a member of the student council, and her father is the president of a prominent toy company in Japan. What really was intriguing about Itsuki is her obsession with collecting nails from her defeated opponents. She has a nasty collection of trophies to prove her gambling tendency as well.
So almost all of my collection has been plundered through gambling. Aren't they beautiful?
And yet, when it is her turn to give up her nails, she hesitates and concedes defeat to Yumeko. It was understandable, I guess, but by the end of the first season, she literally bites off all her nails in one crazy display of courage and loyalty to Yumeko.
I'll do whatever it takes to win!
This was done to show how much she has grown as a risk taker, but her actions look extremely brutal for anyone to take. This brings me to the end of the series, where Kirari and Yumeko have their epic showdown. Naturally, it ends in a draw, and the anime remembers we also have a dude hang around in the background. People might have forgotten about Ryota. Now the show is desperately trying to make him relevant, and not just an accessory to our crazy hot cast of female characters.
I want you to draw the future.
What? Wait, why do you want me to do that?
Ryota gets one last decisive moment to shine, and Yumeko seems visibly impressed by his performance. I guess he concluded with a happy ending for our female protagonist, and the anime is indeed entertaining to watch. I give Kakegurui an 8.2 out of 10.
That's enough. Just shut up and play.